Today, we're going to dig into the past, piecing together the story of one family that lived right through the birth of a nation. And their story, it helps us answer a really big question.
I mean, think about it. When we picture history, we tend to think of just a handful of famous figures, right? The ones on our money. But is that really the whole story? Who are the people actually laying the foundation, brick by brick?
Well, the real story, it's almost always so much deeper than that. It's not just about the generals and the presidents. The actual strength of a nation, it comes from somewhere else entirely. It's found in the lives of ordinary people. Their stories aren't always grand or dramatic, but they are the essential threads that make up the fabric of a country. And today, we're going to follow one of those threads. So let me introduce you to Zachariah and Elizabeth Hildreth. They lived in this small town in Massachusetts during one of the most chaotic, world-changing periods in American history. And their lives, they give us this incredible window into what it was really like to build a family, a community, and a whole new country all at the same time.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, smack in the middle of the 1700s. Life is tough, the work is nonstop, and family is absolutely everything. This is the world that Zachariah and Elizabeth were born into.
Now this right here, this tells you so much about their world. The contrast is just wow. Zachariah grew up in a big, bustling house with 8 siblings who made it past infancy. Elizabeth, on the other hand, she lost 3 of her 4 siblings when they were just babies. And this wasn't some rare tragedy. This was the heartbreaking everyday reality of colonial life. The shadow of childhood mortality was just always there. And then, when he was 24 and she was just 18, they got married. The official town record is so simple, isn't it? Just one little line. But that single entry, that was the beginning of this incredible partnership that would go on to last for more than 30 years.
And what a partnership it was. Together, they had 12 children. Now, after seeing those grim statistics from Elizabeth's childhood, you'd be bracing for a sad story, wouldn't you? But here's the amazing part. Every single one of their 12 children survived infancy. That is just incredible. It's this quiet little testament to their care and maybe just a little bit of luck.
So how in the world do you support a family of 14 people in colonial Massachusetts? Well, for Zachariah, the answer was just hard, steady work. Work that made him an absolutely essential part of his community.
If you dig through the old Westford town records, you get a really clear picture. Zachariah wasn't getting rich, not by a long shot, but he was consistently earning a living by doing stuff the town needed. He was fixing the roads that everybody used and supplying the firewood that kept his neighbors from freezing during those brutal New England winters. I mean, this was the work that actually built a town.
And all that hard, dependable work, it got him a reputation. In 1773, he was appointed town constable. Now, this wasn't just another job. This was a position of serious public trust. It meant his neighbors looked up to him, they trusted him. That year, as constable, he collected 61 pounds in town funds. To put that in perspective, that was a huge amount of money back then. It really shows you the level of responsibility he carried. He'd become a pillar of his community in Westford.
But you know how these things go. Just as the Hildreth family was really hitting its stride, their entire world was about to get turned completely upside down. The whispers of rebellion against Great Britain were getting louder and louder, and war was coming literally right to their doorstep. Now this is the part you really have to appreciate. When Zachariah Hildreth was commissioned as the 2nd lieutenant in the local militia, he wasn't some young guy looking for adventure and glory. No way. He was 47 years old. He was a father, a husband, and a respected community leader with absolutely everything to lose.
And this just puts it all in perspective, doesn't it? The war wasn't some distant event for them. The first shots at Lexington and Concord were fired just 10 miles from his house. While the Founding Fathers were off in Philadelphia debating independence, Zachariah had a 2-year-old at home, and his wife, Elizabeth, was pregnant with their last child. This was history happening in real time to a real family.
Zachariah actually survived the war, but his health started to fail a few years later. And it's in the final documents of their lives, their wills, that we get the clearest glimpse into their values, into what really, truly mattered to them.
His will starts by making sure his beloved wife Elizabeth is taken care of, and the list is so specific: livestock of her choosing, bedding, furniture, and full access to the house, the barn, the tools.
And you have to understand, This legal language isn't cold at all. It's a detailed, practical plan to make absolutely sure that the woman he built his entire life with would be okay, that she'd be secure and self-sufficient after he was gone. It's a final, powerful act of love and care.
Of course, their legacy lived on through their kids, and as you can see, their children's lives went in all sorts of different directions. Some, like Zachariah Jr., had these huge families of their own. Others, like poor James, died tragically young. And some, like Eddie, never married, probably dedicating their lives to taking care of their aging parents, a really common and absolutely vital role back then.
Elizabeth outlived her husband by 28 years. 28 years. That's a long time to be a widow. And when she passed away at 77, her own will showed her deep concern for her daughters, leaving most of what she had left to Edie, the daughter who had almost certainly been her caregiver right up until the very end.
So when you step back and look at it all, what do you see? The Hildreths weren't famous. They never signed any declarations. But they did the hard, essential work. They raised a family, they served their community, and they answered the call when their country needed them. They are the foundation.
And it really brings us right back to where we started. The Hildreths lived through these huge, revolutionary times. But every generation faces its own challenges, right? It makes you wonder, 200 years from now, when someone looks back at our records, what story will our ordinary lives tell about the world we helped build?